This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Brown Insurance Group has been providing coverage to municipalities, companies, and individuals in the region for over 73 years. As a partner of the Keystone Insurers Group, we are able to offer an extensive line of insurance products and services, from commercial services including employee benefits and liability insurance, to personal services such as home, auto, watercraft, and motorcycle coverage. We are also committed to our community. We support many charities and events in the region. Our core values of care and integrity since the inception of Brown Insurance Group has made us one of Indiana's most respected and valued insurance agencies. To make an appointment with one of our experienced specialists, call our Highland Insurance office at 219-972-6060. Brown Insurance Group. Small town values, big time resources, going beyond expectations to protect you and yours.
Hello and welcome to our show, coming to you from the Bill and Callie studio, which, yes, as Kelly points out, is our living room. And soon we'll be going from our smaller studio, the guest bathroom. So, we want to welcome to our show today Donna Catalano, who is the Special Projects Director for South Shore Arts. So, welcome to our show, Donna.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, your first time Bill and Kelly show guest?
First time Bill and Kelly show. I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome.
Yeah. Here we go.
We'll try to make it easy on you.
No.
So, why don't you first of all start out and tell us about South Shore Arts, because some of our listeners may not know what you guys do. Okay. So why don't you tell us a bit about that and then get into some of the grant opportunities that you came to talk about.
What South Shore Arts does is we are the premier arts organization up here in Northwest Indiana. The National Endowment of the Arts gives every state money based on per capita. So the National Endowment of the Arts gives the Indiana state legislature or government money. Well, in order to get that money from the National Endowment of the Arts, the state has to match it dollar for dollar. So the Indiana Arts Commission is an actual budget department of the Indiana state government. And so they match that money and they throw in some more, which is really good of them. But in order to do that, you have to get that money from the NEA out into all 92 counties in the state. And so what the Indiana Arts Commission did was they divided the state into regions. And so our region and South Shore Arts, what we do is we re-grant money to arts organizations and projects in Region 1, which is Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties. What most people don't know is that Region 1 is the second most populated area outside of Indianapolis, so we get the second most amount of money to re-grant.
We are, because we're Chicago, and so we get all that.
Yeah, we like that. So we get lots of money, and we try and do a good job of getting it out into all the counties. And last year we had a record number of applicants. We had 50 applications. And we re-granted money to 49 of those 50 applicants.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, so we did really well.
Yeah.
And I hope the other one comes back this year, because sometimes it takes one or two tries to get all the paperwork and application process done. So.
Yeah. But we love a lot of the art communities in this area. I mean, you go to LaPorte, Valparaiso, Michigan City that has an art district, and even Highland has done some art projects here.
Oh, they're doing wonderful. The redevelopment or is it the redevelopment committee?
They oversee
that. And they've done that wonderful mural projects.
Murals, yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot, for what is considered still the Rust Belt. We have some wonderful communities of artists in the area.
Yeah. Actually, one of the hardest places to get money for the arts into is the rural areas. It's considered the underserved in the arts community. So how do I get arts into Couts, Hebron, Lowell? Those are all it's like south of 30, I'm having a hard time. So if anybody knows of an arts organization in a rural area in my 3-county area, I would love to hear from you.
We know a farm boy that paints cows. Is that classified as?
Yeah. Why would it? Of course it would. There's lots, and I'll give you a grant opportunity for him.
Good, here we go.
Cows. There's something for everyone, Bill.
That's true.
He maybe will fund college.
There you go.
So besides that, though, aren't there other projects like the Northwest Symphony? Or Northwest
We have the Northwest Indiana Symphony, which is also based at the Theater at the Center. So the Theater at the Center holds the theater. It holds South Shore Arts. We have 2 galleries there. We have the Atrium Gallery, and then we have the Bachman Gallery, which is the main gallery. And then the catering service, and then the Northwest Indiana Symphony doesn't perform there, but they have their offices there. And I think back in 2009, the symphony was struggling, so somebody came to us and asked us to manage. So South Shore Arts manages the symphony with our board. And they have a committee that actually runs it, but it's under our board. And we actually got an Innovators Society award for that.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So they're doing a lot of great work here
to
influence art, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about the grant opportunity there?
Yes. Well, we've got some great, grant cycle is coming up. We operate on fiscal year, so grants would, you'll be applying for FY21 grant cycle, which means that, I know, isn't that scary, 2021. So the grant cycle actually would run, you would have to be doing your project or your operations from July 1st of 2020 and ending in June 30th, 2021, thus the FY21. Wow. So, and what happens is I am actually putting up all the guidelines and criteria on my website today. Okay. So they'll be available. You can start your application process. Applications are due March 5th, 2020. And then what I do is I vet them. So I go through and make sure you've got all your paperwork and everything. And then we will panel them. So a panel of like 5 to 7 of your peers will read your grants and grade them, and then we will decide if you will get funded. And those grant panels will happen in April 27th and 28th up here at South Shore Arts. And it is open to the public, so people can listen. They can't participate because it's quiet. You have to be quiet in the audience. But you can hear what they're saying about your organizations. And a lot of organizations have gone back and said, I could do this better, or I would like to do this, from observations that they've gotten from the panel process. And one of those is a small little event called Festa Italiana at Villa Cesare in Cherville. Yeah. And he applied the first year and did not get a grant. So, you know, my objective is to make people successful. So I call him up and say, hey, you did really well, but we need to do it a little different and come back next year and we'll get you funded. And he did. He went up 20 points in his score. Oh wow! So he was funded. So and it's a fun event. I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone, but it's a great.
I haven't been to that, but I love Villa Cesare.
Oh yeah,
I've gone to quite a few events.
And it's a young guy, John Biancardi, and he's like in his 30s, and he does this by himself with all the lodge. It's a Battisti Lodge, which I think was originally in East Chicago, and they moved out here.
Okay.
So.
Great. And so how many of these, is it a dollar figure, or do you break it up into a number?
Yeah, so we break it up into levels. So if you're a grant organization and your cash operating income is over $250,000 a year, you would apply for what they call an Art Organization Support Grant, AOS 2. Those are not available this year because they are on a 2-year cycle. So the people that applied last year, they get to go 2 years because it's a lot of paperwork for an organization that big. And they can ask for up to $20,000. So we have several of those in the area. Theater at the Center, the Northwest Indiana Symphony, Opera House, Indiana Ballet, Chicago Street Theater, Lebesnick Center. So I have several of those. And so, well, I know. So we get that.
I love them.
And then the next one, and that you apply for, the money for that is operational. You don't have to spend it on a particular project. It just goes into your pot, and you get to manage your organization.
Discretion. Okay. All right.
And then the other level is Arts Organization Support Level 1, and that is for arts organizations that have a cash operating income of over $50,000 but below $250,000. And so they can ask for $10,000. And that would be Books, Brushes, and Bands, South Shore Dance Alliance, Beach Arts and Crafts,
all right.
those sorts of level organizations. And then the last level is art project support. And art project support is if you have a cash operating income under $50,000, and you don't necessarily have to be an arts organization. You just have to do an art project. So the town of Cherville gets a grant to bring the Northwest Indiana Symphony in. Munster Parks used to get one. Duo Sequenza, she gets a grant for taking her art into the community. Valparaiso Creative Arts District gets one too. They created a website for people to put their arts things on. South Shore Chamber Orchestra is a smaller orchestra. South Shore Brass Band is fun because they just do English old style brass band music. Deborah Bolaños, I don't know if you know Deborah or not, she has a Mexican folklore dance company in East Chicago. They just did a performance at St. John Church on Our Lady of Guadalupe. They did that Saturday where they had Mexican folklore dancing in the church, so it was just beautiful. So all sorts of things going on.
So it could be performing arts or visual arts.
Anything on this one. It
All
can
right.
be, and the only thing is if you are not a 501c3, because that is a requirement, you have to get a fiscal agent that is a 501c3.
Okay.
So a lot of places, like before Deborah Silvert and Duo Sequenza got her 501c3 status, she used the Porter County Community Foundation as her fiscal agent, which a number of people do here in the area with Legacy Foundation, which is Lake County's version, or Unity Foundation, which is in LaPorte County. And it works really well. Decay Doubles, have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh my gosh, you would love them. They operate in Gary, and they take old buildings and renovate them and make them usable again. So they are currently the group working on Union Station, right in downtown Gary.
Love it.
And so, and they have a great success story. So they're lots
That
of
is
fun.
great to hear.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
So again, let's review the deadlines again.
Okay.
So for the grant cycle coming up, this
Grant
2020
cycle.
to 2021.
Yes,
The deadline to get your grant submittals
is March 5th at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and they cut it off, and so you have to get it in. And the best thing to do is to contact me, because I do see anytime anybody starts a grant, I can see and I can review it and help you, walk you through it. My job is to make you successful, and to be able to get those monies or funds to help your organization move along.
No, that's
Yeah.
great. So
Yeah.
it sounds like a
Well,
lot
and I
of
have-
opportunities.
And if we have, do you have a few more minutes?
Oh,
or-
sure,
Okay,
yeah,
so
by
we
all
can talk
means,
about-
by all
I've got a
means.
couple other opportunities.
Oh, that's right.
Well, we talked about Arts in the Park. That actually runs on calendar year. So we just had like 5 organizations and people get grants here. And the Arts in the Parks, their criteria are, which really limits us up here, is that it has to be in a state park. So we only have one state park in the 3-county area, and that's the Indiana Dunes State Park.
Aren't they a national park now, though?
I know, but that granting doesn't work in there.
Okay.
And you have to do your event or project inside the park. So, and you can also do it on an Indiana state landmark, but believe it or not, there are no official Indiana state landmarks in this quadrant of the whole state.
Really?
I know. Like we have no
Totally
history.
surprises
Well,
me.
you
We
know,
have a
come
ton
think of
of
it, when I
history.
see those markers.
Some of them are
that's-
national, so it has to be
Okay.
an Indiana state landmark. And the landmark office is actually in Miller. And so it's like, well, wouldn't that count? Could we do it in their office?
Yeah,
You know?
really.
I don't know.
So
That's so
the
surprising to me.
So
the
they
office
get-
that tracks all these things is in the quadrant where there aren't any.
Well, that
irony
Northwest
there.
Indiana,
Yeah.
All right, all
office, but and those recipients get about $3,000. They're $3,000 grants, and so we talked about NEDF, Northwest Indiana Excellence in Theater, does some plays in the park. Gerald Jaskowiak does drama in the dunes.
Yes, he does.
Becky Jaskowiak does the Chautauqua Indian. We like that. And then Christina Kanowski does bird art. She only paints birds. and she will do painting and drawing of birds at the visitor center in the park. So lots of fun things, and Duo Sequenza. Deborah Silver has a grant that she will be doing in the Indiana State Park. So, and then my next one coming up is On Ramp. On Ramp is for artists in the area who would like to take their art as a business or their career to the next level. And it's a 3-day like mini MBA program for artists down in usually on IU campus or around there. It changes a little bit every year, and that deadline is January 16th. And
I had a whole different idea of where that was going. Art on the ramp, and I'm thinking, are we doing chalk drawings on the ramps up to 8094 or something?
No. Like you might want to. I think Chris Acton from Chesterton Arts Center, and she's a weaver. She got a grant from OnRamp, because once you're in the OnRamp, you can apply for a grant. She got a grant to create a new website for her art business.
Oh, great!
So you can do things like that. I think Sam Love, who's a local poet in the area, he got a grant for some literary work that he was doing. Laurel Izzard, who is from Michigan City, she got the On-Ramp group, and she does fabric art, and she's just phenomenal. And then one more grant specifically for visual artists this year is the Advanced Placement Group Award, and that is for an artist who wants to further their career or needs something to further their career, and I think it's $3,000.
Oh, wow.
And they can ask, maybe they want to go to a workshop on painting birds in New York City or something, that you could apply for that grant to do that. So, and that deadline is February 5th.
All right, cool.
So we got lots of deadlines.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But this is just proof positive that the arts are alive and well in Northwest Indiana.
Alive and well in
Definitely.
Northwest Indiana, and the arts are everywhere.
Yes.
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
So
Performer, from theater, from visual arts, it's just
Poetry.
amazing.
Yeah.
Poetry.
Yeah, and the Advanced Placement Group changes every year. So this year it's visual arts, next year it is performing arts. And so they do rotate the two of those. So
Great.
I don't know, I consider what Kelly and I do performing arts.
it is, actually.
Real piece of art.
Well, you know, there are several grants in my project category that you probably, in the project category, there wouldn't be a reason for you not to apply for that with using a fiscal agent, because Larry Breckner gets one for WVLP, Arts on the Air.
Right.
Yeah, and he gets one for their Eye on the Arts radio segment.
That's great.
So there is opportunity for you there.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, you really should. And Becky could write your grant.
Yeah. Oh, Becky, you just got nominated. How lucky for you.
She would love that.
Yes.
So now, that's one more, right?
Well, this is phenomenal information. Great. Thank you for sharing it. Okay. And we do have quite a few artists that listen to us trying to figure out what we do.
No? Well,
No. But no, we'll get this out today at 6 o'clock.
And I know exactly what you do. That's why I asked to come.
We love
Great,
you for that.
thank you.
That's so
You're
great.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, we'll wrap up the show and say goodbye for now. Thank you for
Bye,
being on our
everybody.
show.
Thank
Goodbye.
you for having me.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Brown Insurance Group has been providing coverage to municipalities, companies, and individuals in the region for over 73 years. As a partner of the Keystone Insurers Group, we are able to offer an extensive line of insurance products and services, from commercial services including employee benefits and liability insurance, to personal services such as home, auto, watercraft, and motorcycle coverage. We are also committed to our community. We support many charities and events in the region. Our core values of care and integrity since the inception of Brown Insurance Group has made us one of Indiana's most respected and valued insurance agencies. To make an appointment with one of our experienced specialists, call our Highland Insurance office at 219-972-6060. Brown Insurance Group. Small town values, big time resources. Going beyond expectations to protect you and yours.